when you have a main character who the significant other is in direct opposition of the thing that the main character is supposed to be doing, the thing that we're there for. It's so glad you're bringing this up. It's a Skyler White situation.
Yes. Yes.
In any normal, actual real-world setting, Skyler White would probably have a way higher approval rate than Walter White.
Yeah.
But because he's the protagonist and we're invested in his journey, it's easier to be like, man, Skyler tripping.
Skyler was getting on everybody's nerves.
Yeah.
Like, Skyler was right. Skyler was right more than she was wrong.
Let this nigga cook mess. And it's definitely very gendered. It's always, bitch, I have to save the world. Why the fuck do you care who did the dishes?
The public is in danger.
My evening's in danger.
You tell me what my suit is, woman.
This is male writers taking their regular boring lives and trying to adapt their like inadequacy as a partner into superhero stories. Like, no, I'm trying to change the world. So all these like domestic problems that you have an issue with in the relationship are insignificant. And it's like, it's such a common manipulation tactic because if
it's a red flag.
Got some powers we don't know about.
You know what? Honestly, if I did have abilities, I'm trying to think how I would calculate who, if anyone, I should tell. Because honestly, I think I'd probably just never tell anybody. Like if we're living in like in this world, like not in the superhero world, but like in this world, that seemed like a good way to get kidnapped by the CIA. Like, I really
that's definitely costumes.
It depends on how powerful your power is.
Which kind of powers are you thinking about?
So if you were like fucking Franklin Richards or some shit, then it would kind of be irrelevant, right? Like it wouldn't matter who you told. So like, and if you're like, I don't know, fucking Archangel or something, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're like a lower tier hero, then yeah, you're gonna
be can fly at a clean 20 miles per hour.
That's it.
I could fly.
Fast? Well, about as fast as like a small pigeon.
Pigeons are actually very fast, man. They fly like 55 really miles per hour.
55. You know what? As a human, 55 an hour is pretty. Oh, is that not true? Oh, okay.
No, that is true. But I'm just saying, like that was.
I know. Then why I fly away and be at rest?
Life is clean because I feel like we do under exaggerate powers because everything in comics and TV is so like. You know,
it's
Superman he can laser a sun out of existence, or Jean, or like what's old boy's name that you just said, Nate Richards or whatever.
Franklin Richards.
Yeah. Franklin Richards can create a whole new universe. It's like, okay, but dude, if you were like as strong as like 2 men, that's like incredible in our world. Like that would be insane what you could do if you were just as strong.
You're elite. You're like one of like the strongest few thousand people on the planet if you're that strong. So yeah.
Like you can cleanly lift up the side of a truck. Like you'd just be insane.
Like having knives come out of your hands, like seems
that's a pretty good power.
It seems so. Bullshit by comparison, but like it's all about. But it's how you use it. It's all how you use it. Like it's like, man,
it's the motion notion. It's like Batman. Batman's whole like Batman is my #1 favorite, not just comic book character, but literary figure. Period. Like he's my favorite fictional character across all formats. And his power set is mad dumb, like compared to how powerful everybody else is.
Batman's power set is preparation. So I mean,
money.
And to be fair, he's done some pretty wild shit with preparation. That the suit that they made in the Heart of a Star or whatever. But yeah, sorry.
So Batman's power, and I think, and I feel very passionate about this because I feel like the Hollywoodification of Batman is very similar to what they're doing with like Black Panther.
FD Borm over here.
So it's like Batman's power is the fact that the motherfucker is one of the smartest people in the DC universe. Like that's what his power is. Like intelligence is a superpower if you're intelligent enough. Black Panther's ultimate superpower from a Marvel perspective in the comics is that he's smart as fuck. Like Tony Stark's superpower is that he's smart as fuck. So like if you're smart enough, like that's a superpower. But I think that gets downplayed in like, the Christian Bale, version of Batman where he's just a ninja.
Where are they? Where's the trigger? Where is it?
Look at you two, world's greatest detectives.
With the exception of Iron Man, I don't think they've adapted like intelligent heroes well at all. Because T'Challa, they just made him like a dumb, like he was just like strong. They didn't really make him a.
There were slight hints of it. Like where they were talking about the design of the suit, and Shuri had one that was better. and she said it was better. He was like, "Oh, it's better than my design." So like there were small bits of it.
Bits of him. Yeah,
they don't make a big deal about it. It's like kind of like okay, cool, all right. Keep story.
But he's meant to be like number 3 in the Marvel universe, so it's like
it's number 7. It's more like number 7 because Because the rankings got reshuffled with like Riri and Moon Girl entering like the top 10.
Oh, they pushed him down on some affirmative action shit. Okay.
Yeah, Moon Girl, Valeria Richards, Riri Williams, and he had like some other characters. A lot of that stuff. Like honestly, here's the thing: your safest bet is just to assume that whoever is in the top 5, Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom are somewhere in there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
You're just like, okay, somewhere in there is them.
And something like that. Well, look, everybody, let me go ahead and introduce this podcast. Welcome, everybody, to Waving the Red Flag, the #1 dating and comic book analysis podcast in the universe. It's your boy, Eddie, joined today by my illustrious co-host, Josh Alvin, and our guest today, Blurred Sans Fear, Without Fear, that guy right there. You know what I'm saying?
That's me.
Podcaster, streamer, YouTuber extraordinaire, general nerd aficionado, comic book, specialist, and white woman Thanksgiving dinner seasoner. I think he's good at it. He's talented. He keeps it. He's got a watch with a little hot sauce spray gun in it. Undercover brother. Actually, anybody? No?
We do keep a big bottle of Louisiana hot sauce in the house just for such occasions. So
I think Texas Pete was my what we grew up on.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
We was definitely a Texas Pete household.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, it's on the Franks now, baby.
Ooh, Franks. Is that more expensive? Okay. Is that a fancier one?
No, it's comparable. But I like the flavor of it better.
The flavor palette.
I'm going to try that. I've heard people talk about it. I've heard the word.
I've heard it through the grapevine, if you will.
Yeah, right. Like in the Negro network, the Negro network. Yeah, we talk to each other through. We shine to each other.
The shining, man.
This week, everyone, we're talking season 2, part 1. Speaking of something that we said just earlier, I think one of my biggest bones to pick with the show, and really I guess the comic too, is like Adam Eve kind of doesn't fucking make sense to me in this show. Like she just seems ridiculously overpowered but doesn't do anything. And it just seems like they should have rewritten her powers to where it made more sense, because what she can do is she's just Dr. Manhattan. But she spends all of her time doing like girly Green Lantern bullshit.
Without the omniscience, right? Because Dr. Manhattan also had that.
Dr. Manhattan, you know why I'm here.
Yes. But you're going to leave disappointed.
And that's probably more central to Dr. Manhattan's power than like the molecular recombination kind of thing. Like, but I agree with you. Yeah, but like I agree with you.
Because she's not doing like what Thunderstorm does. What's old boy, the guy with like the flame coming out of his head? She's not like that where it's just like she can kind of do transformation. Firestorm. She's literally taking like, here's a pine cone and I turned it into a fully edible hamburger. Like the level of process you have to do to transform one thing into another like that is like fucking insane.
Yeah, she's full of
made a whole park with fucking like merry-go-rounds and slides and everything in like about 65 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like a 20-man crew over like several months, and she did it nearly instantly.
But she didn't even do that right.
No,
she didn't do that.
God bless her heart.
But it was her first try. Like, okay, she got took out by an OSHA violation, but it's like, try again. Like she failed one time and gave up immediately.
I love how you're putting like superhero powers always in the context of like normal people and not other superhero powers. Like we have like a scale within like superheroes, but you're just like, no man, that would take like fucking like 3 cement trucks and like a fucking whole crew, several hours, and lots of red tape with the city planners. Like,
this is a regulation.
It wasn't like wait, but that's what it does in the show. Because in the show, it wasn't like, oh, Omni-Man was about to build that park himself later. No, a bunch of motherfuckers in like safety vests were like, hey, that's not up to code. Like that's what the show is saying. That apparently, despite the fact they've got super motherfuckers all over the place, people are still getting to the hospital in ambulances that max out at like 100 miles an hour, which I also don't understand why that's happening.
In what world are the superheroes transporting like people in ambulances? You know how many fucking accidents happen every day?
My Hero
It's
Academia.
fucking tens of thousands of accidents every day in just the US.
This nigga got the statistics immediately ready. But no.
He's like, nah, I got it. I'm here.
The idea of superheroes as crime fighters doesn't make like what Adam Eve is doing makes a lot more sense to me. Like if you had the power to move super fast, is catching bank robbers really the most useful use of your time? Like wouldn't like a really fast like surgeon make more sense, or just some other shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like getting people to hospitals actually probably is more useful than like beating up bad guys.
I think you might be onto something.
No, I get that. More practical uses for superpowers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something that I think that is kind of
defund the police. That's my point.
A little bit is like well, at least I know in the comics it's more of a thing. Is it like it's like, well, you could literally be doing anything else. Does any of this even actually matter? Like you beat up some bank robbers, you beat up some dudes from an alien planet, but like, did you actually make the world a better place? Like, yeah.
So in regards to this, and I've talked about this on the show. So my favorite moment in any comic book ever, like literally ever, is the recent Invincible Iron Man arc where, you know, Doom. It's right before Doom becomes like Iron Man during that infamous Iron Man arc where Tony's dealing with some shit. So he goes to like a hospital where like people are like children are terminally ill, and he brings Iron Man suits, you know, and he just shows them, you know, a good time. He lets them play around with the suits, blah 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 blah. Doom pulls him up to the roof, and he says, "Tony, you're a genius. You're a scientist. You're a mechanical scientist, but you're a genius and a scientist. If you really wanted to help them, you could just fucking cure them." And Tony had nothing for that bar. Like Doom was barring this motherfucker up this whole time. He was like, you're a genius. Just go fucking cure cancer. And you're over here fucking parading the suits around, trying to soothe your conscience and shit. And like you could do something meaningful. So like Doom was on some other shit in regards to like the practicality of like how they were using
Tony
their powers.
didn't have anything to say about that because Tony knew that he would then get murdered by the government for curing cancer.
That's true.
That is awesome.
You know, just one thing you don't fuck with is the IRS and the government, baby.
Well, I mean, I'll throw you one better. The
government did kill him twice. You know what I'm just saying?
Well, I don't know if y'all ever read any of the new Milestone stuff, but they tackled something very similar in the Icon and Rocket series where like they were like, hey, we're gonna stop the entire drug trade. We're going to take every drug dealer off the street. We're going to go not just to the street corner, but we're going to go to the places where they're making the drugs, cartels, everybody. We're shutting that shit down. And they do. And then everybody across the world starts trying to go after them because the banks are tied up into this. The government's tied up into this. Like, and not just like our government, but other countries' governments are tied up into this. So like you got rid of a problem that was making the world a worse place for everyone else, but now you're fucking with the 1%.
And working just fine. The problem was working just fine.
Yes.
Program.
And literally everybody started coming after him. Like entire governments were like, hey, we need to get some superheroes or supervillains, whatever, together to take these folks down because this isn't tenable. we got to get our stuff back on track.
That was the first shit that I thought when I heard, like when Angstrom Levy was going through his, like, you know, I'm trying to go to the different universes and we can cure cancer and we can spread joy and we can eliminate war and we can do all this good stuff. And I was like, they not finna let no niggas solve all them problems. They gotta shut that down immediately. Cecil came in and Invincible was like, look, it's 1,000 niggas on a Christmas tree. And Cecil said, look, I don't give a fuck what it is. Blow it all up.
Shut it down, nigga.
Shut it down immediately. I don't know what he's up to. You got a nigga with test tubes. Shut it down. They didn't ask no
hella
questions.
energy. It's a lot of niggas up on this thing. They can't be up any good.
Wait, and he got some blue niggas helping him. So come and get them too. Get all them too.
We got the goddamn them Proud Family sisters. What were those sisters called?
Oh, the Gross sisters.
Yeah,
the Gross sisters. They
Hands up, cash out.
Christmas tree. So yeah, I don't think the way they did Angstrom, because it's the same thing happened in the comic, but I'm just like, they couldn't slow down for a second and be like, yo, hey, hold, what are you up to? Oh, I'm just trying to put knowledge in my head. I'm not even up to nothing. Like, they couldn't have a conversation. He's like, immediately unplug it. Does that machine look like some shit you could just unplug? Like, they didn't even try and have a conversation. They didn't do any reconnaissance or nothing.
That machine is the one thing you don't like. They tell you turn it off, turn it back on.
Yeah, no, but
that's the one you don't.
Can't even eject a USB stick without fucking doing a process. And they just say, yo, unplug this whole shit.
And he had so much time to do that. Like, everybody's like, no, stop. Niggas like, yo, hey buddy, I'm just trying to save the universe, my nigga. Like, we're good guys. I got the keys. And then you had one job, my nigga. Don't get out of the chair.
That conscience will fuck you up.
What did he do?
Doing the right thing.
He got out the chair.
But he was watching a 17-year-old boy get beat to death. I think he just, like, his conscience took over. Like, you really got to think what that situation would be.
I mean, first of all, Mark need to fucking get his weight up or some shit,
bro.
Oh man, bro, come on, man.
This nigga's getting his ass beat every fucking episode still.
Get him up, let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back, nigga. Fight back, nigga. Fight back. Fight back.
God, the most ironic,
like, goddamn
name
shit,
ever.
bro.
I'm gonna tell you right now,
invincible than a motherfucker. Come on, man.
It ain't gonna get no better.
Oh yeah.
Change his name to fucking Invincible. Invincible is ironic. Like, they saying this shit like on some like fucking bullshit.
Well, he thought he was invincible until real invincible motherfuckers. Like, it's kind of like, what was it, that old Cat Williams?
Everybody's invincible until real invincible.
Right? It's like,
it looked like a Phantom until a Phantom pull up.
Right?
Yeah. Fucking the Chrysler. He's the Chrysler 300 of fucking like superheroes and shit.
Right there. That's it. It's a misnomer if ever there was one. Like, because he's not. He's. There are other characters out there who will characters we haven't even seen yet on the show that will tear his ass up.
And Omni-Man's.
Yeah, and Omni-Man's. And Omni-Man's. It's rough.
I think it's just good writing on the part of like Kirkman and all of them, because it's not like he's strong as fuck. It's just that they always put him against these like insanely, because when you put him against like a street level person, he's barely even paying attention. Him against Kill Cannon or one of those guys, he's playing with him. When Darkwing goes against him and is like, I have a super suit now, and he was like, bro, I said I could feel the punch.
I felt
it
that, but it didn't hurt.
Like, I just was able to feel that you had tried something.
He's invincible to everybody, but everyone else.
It's also like, again, and I'm basing this off just what we've seen in the show. I have not read the comic books, but like it seems like most of it is just his combat prowess, right? Like, so it seems very like I'm thinking about episode 4, where like once he like started landing some punches and they were connecting, like these people
against
who were
with the sword.
And these people who were I would say, based on like what I was saying, probably maybe 95% of what Nolan was bringing to the table. Like, he was able to like make his
close.
it was he was imposing his will a little bit. So I'm just saying, like, god damn it, motherfucker, like, practice with some jiu-jitsu motherfuckers or some shit. Like,
because that's one thing. I don't think he actually knows. I don't think he was actually ever trained how to fight. He's just a nigga that's super strong.
That never happened. He never got combat training, because everything, like, all the shit went down before his dad got a chance to like really train him how to be a killing motherfucker. So it makes sense. But what I really liked in that scene was just the fact that I was like, okay, he's just weaker. Because obviously he's a lot younger. He's 17. The niggas he's fighting are, 500, 600 years old. They obviously much stronger than him.
2000.
But then his dad was 2000. But his dad was like, yo, stop holding back. And he's like, I'm not holding back. He's like, you are. I'm watching you. I can tell you're holding back. This is not a bank robber in New York that you're trying to stop peacefully. There's a person who's trying to kill you. And if you're trying to do anything other than trying to kill them back, you will die. So fucking puff your chest out. Let's fight. And then he was like, okay, cool. Now I got the pep talk and I'm going to be able to do it. And he started beating ass a little bit. I was like, a fight and a fight to the death are two very different things that most of us never really experienced that. But
Batman, he is not. Batman, he is not.
No.
He's not fighting. He's not fighting in the King of the Iron Fist tournament anytime soon. He'll get washed by Paul Phoenix. So
you don't never throw kicks. Can you imagine if Invincible started throwing kicks? Like,
he doesn't understand. You can't just rely on brute strength. At some point, you have to know, like, it's kind of like if you take two people who have the exact same superpower and put them against each other, the power doesn't matter anymore. Like, if your power is, well, I am superhumanly strong, I can literally punch a hole in a planet, was like, well, I can do the same thing. Okay, now what?
I agree. I agree. Yeah. My one caveat to that would be is that I'm assuming, based on some of the stuff that we've heard about how like Voldemort like genetics functions, that he may be a cut above just on physical prowess, because Nolan appears to be a cut above based on physical prowess. Like Nolan is stronger than the other Voldemorts that we've seen thus far. It is my understanding that he's not stronger than all of them.
No.
But the ones that we've seen so far, like I'm again going to episode 4, like what is it, Lucan? Like he stopped that motherfucker like dead in his tracks and was like,
oh, he sliced him up so easily almost. I was like,
you know,
I don't know. Some of the moves they do, I'm like, damn, you could have just did that the whole time. Like, why are we even throwing punches if you could just like a pinata? He did that shit like it was an Amazon package. He just peeled this shit open and
and you got to think about the context of that, right? They sent those motherfuckers there knowing that Nolan was there. So this is their like no fucking around crew, assuming that, you know. They sent who they sent knowing that Nolan was there, and he was still able to dispatch almost all of them by himself.
Yeah,
so he's buddy with the goddamn romper stomper and goddamn tectonic like moved his eyes like that. I was like, that's
if fucking Mark had his hand in the game, Nolan had that handle. All he needed was for Mark not to fucking die. That's all he needed to happen.
And Mark was just right. Mark was like, Dad, wait.
Dad, help. Oh, goddamn.
I'm playing 3 niggas and trying to keep him from beating you up. Like, fuck.
My memory's hazy, but I don't think they've actually shown Mark practice or like weight train or anything so far.
Not since early shit where he was learning how to fly and shit and learn how to like throw a punch in the air. That was like early season 1.
Like Cecil's not even training him. Like,
so he hasn't gotten to that point yet. But that's kind of the thing. Like it was kind of like a little bit of both. It was like, you don't push yourself enough. You're useless fighting these bank robbers, but also you a bitch. And I'm gonna need you to nut up and get out there, kill this woman.
Get it together,
because she tried to
get
kill
out here and murder this woman, please.
I am not a monster, Father. I don't kill people.
Technically, you did. When Omni-Man held your ass up in that subway, I mean, you didn't do it yourself, but I mean,
oh man,
they did crash against you.
That counts as a kill for sure. But can we talk about how horrific this motherfucker Omni-Man is? Because this feels like this episode feels like the beginning of like some sort of a redemption arc. Like he's feeling emotions and da. This shit feel way too quick to me. Like he just did a month. Like some of the most horrific. Because
actually they do the time skip after it, so it's like 4 months.
There might be.
It's like 4 months. 6 months.
You gotta scale this to like how horrific this shit is, because it's like if your dad like beat your mom like a little bit, how long until you could start having a conversation with him again? If he like cheated on your mom, exactly. So he called your mother a pet, beats you nearly to fucking death, like had every intention of just killing you, and then murdered like, you think that airplane pilot who he like squished his fucking head, you think his family is like, Nolan's grown a sense of compassion, I think we can start to have a conversation? It's like there wouldn't be any, I don't know, it just all seems too fast for him to start even having these like relationship arguments with his dad about like, you married another woman, bro. He murdered like 1,000 people. Like, what are we even talking about here?
I mean, but
why are you surprised?
All of that though, like that was
all like, it's all mixed up, but it just seems surreal.
I'll be brutally honest. Robert Kirkman was never particularly good with redemption and comeuppance, people being held accountable for their actions. Because I mean, it's rampant throughout the comic. There are other characters who do awful things. Sometimes they're forgiven, and other times it's kind of just like, that's the thing, man.
That's everyone, though. I feel like comics in general, like just fiction in general, they redeem people in a way that's like, okay, look, we know you, like Loki or whatever, like we know you killed a bunch of people, like you irreparably scarred many, many humans' lives. But hey, there's another bigger problem, so I guess you're a good guy now. It's like...
I mean,
I don't think there's a lot.
Loki pre-MCU wasn't that though. That was MCU branding, and
I'm talking about in the context of MCU. But what are you gonna say, Josh? Though?
Oh yeah, I was saying it's like there's a lot more nuance in it than that. Like just because it's like, yeah, you did this unforgivable thing, but we have this present situation that you can do something with. You want to do something like to help. It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's a lot more nuanced than you're just forgiving like because there's a path of atonement, and then redemption doesn't just sit with the people whom you've wronged. Like it's like your own soul, your own moral, your own character, and then like what you continue to do with your life afterward while seeking atonement.
I agree, but I'm just what does it look like specifically?
Yeah,
but like, what does that look like specifically, though? And I think the other thing is, this is my main problem with like Nolan or at least in that episode, is that this seems like a classic manipulation technique. Like what you do is you go, hey, because he really doesn't even make like a big gesture of like apology. He does bits and pieces of it. He's like trying to construct it, but what you've done is you've done a series of horrible, abusive, violent murder. Like it's beyond what any of us could comprehend. Like a terrible thing that a person has done to us. And you've then created a situation of chaos that now you've created a catastrophe that now requires this person that you've wronged to be back in your life, not on their terms, but on your terms. It's like, it's just more abusive behavior, I would say. Like it's actually a horrific technique. Like, cause that's what a person does when they go like, you want to leave them because they've been abusive, and they go, oh, but my mom got cancer. You know what I mean? Or like, I lost my job. There's an emergency that they can use to force you back into their life. And that's what Nolan did. He stacked like 10 different fucked up things. He was like, look, I married this lady. Now this is your brother. So you love your brother, don't you? And you care about these innocent people, don't you? Because the Viltrumites are coming. Nigga, you brought them there. You got this lady pregnant. You could at the very least put a condom on. Like, why are we acting like it's now on Mark to like solve this problem that you literally created? You're manipulating him back into your life. Like you're squeezing.
Thrax and condoms cannot contain Viltrumite sperm, Eddie.
That's a fact. He would nut straight through him. I hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. But also, that lady is like 3 months old. That's crazy too.
Also, it's like, I think the craziest part of that whole sequence is that he knew Mark was nothing but a liability. Like he knew that,
but he didn't know that fight was going to happen when it happened.
That's true.
He thought he was going to have.
That's fair. He did think there was going to be training time.
Like that was
he fucked up on that calculation.
Like, hey, look, we're going to get started with like, this is going to be a summer. We're going to do 3 months of training. No, they're here. What the? They didn't even fucking text first. Like, how did they get here so quick?
It's like, oh damn, this is embarrassing.
Also, I just want to highlight the fact that he basically killed all the Viltrumite soldiers by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So did he really need Mark there? Did he really need
maybe
Mark?
just somebody to keep one like like to run the ones.
He just like a decoy that won't die
to
immediately.
Save his wife and kid. That's what he needed.
To be fair, he did almost die. Mm-hmm. Like Lucan broke his fucking spine, so he's like paralyzed.
They heal, bro. They heal in like a day. That don't stop them, bro.
Yeah, but if you have 3 niggas and one breaks your back, they're gonna kill you in that fight.
He only broke his back because he was worried about Mark's bitch ass. I'm just saying, bro. Mark was a liability, bro. Mark was only a liability.
You're right.
He over here talking about some Mark. Oh my God, are you gonna die? And then
because it was all fake. It like the entire pretense of getting Mark there was literally just, how can I manipulate my son back into my life? Not like he really wasn't an asset. Like he couldn't help the people. All them people got killed. Like if it was just Nolan, they probably would have been all right. He probably could have killed like those 3 Viltrumites by himself. And also just went to another planet.
It was more than 3, bro. It was more than 3.
What you mean?
When you see them shooting down, it was more than 3. He killed all of them before when they went into that little tunnel or whatever. He was like, there's only, and he killed like Lucan. He was like, there's only 2 left. I killed the rest of them. Like
there was more than the 3. I thought
there was more than 3.
Well, Lucan got broke off. He came back.
Yeah.
And then they never really say her name, but I'm assuming the woman was Thula.
Yes.
Because it was Thula. Okay, so because I know it was really weird because
or whatever.
Yeah, because Thula is the one who, like, in the comics, she actually looks younger, but in the show, they made her look older. And I was really confused.
Which I liked.
It's fine, but it's just like.
But she's like, she's like one of the older ones, though, because, like, she survived, the.
Well, yeah, because that's like what y'all just said is super spoilery.
They're gonna find out about that shit soon anyway.
Okay, well then let's go back to the non-spoiler bits.
Yeah, let's
We'll bleep all that. Sorry for
Spoilers.
those of you who have not read the comics, etc., etc. But yeah, no, I that's all of that is just a madness to me. Like Nolan trying to because Mark was like having to engage with that. Like the feeling that you would have, also the fact that he hugged him is like, man, that's got to be trauma. And then like thinking about what Debbie is going through, I can't even imagine. Like that's like the feeling of being cheated on, magnified by like a factor of like 2,000 or 3,000. Like I don't think that I could. I think you would kill yourself. I don't know how a person could deal with that kind of pain.
The way they handle that, I think, is what sets this apart from other stuff, right? Because the thing that I hated about like the early reaction to the show is that it's like, oh my god, there's an evil superhero. I'm like, oh my god, that shit's been done like a trillion times since like the fucking 70s. Oh my god, okay, cool. But the way they like
Invincible was one of the first. Like they were early in that, like 99, 2000. But you know,
I mean, so one, I don't.
It's
been done to death by now, and also like I don't particularly think that in the schema of superheroes modern that a evil Superman is that big of a deal anymore.
No,
who gives a fuck? But I will say that in regards to how they handled the aftermath of the psychological impact of what he did, I think that this particular series, and I'm assuming the comics like makes this just like a cut above. Like that's different. That's unique.
Yeah,
it's actually something that comes up pretty much almost until the comic ends. Like it's not something that like, at least with Omni-Man, it doesn't just. Yeah. It's not something that never like gets addressed again. Like it's like, oh, it's a bell that got rang. You can't unring it.
That's one thing I like about it, like because like you can it adds like so many layers of emotional depth to the show because it doesn't just go away.
No.
It's just there. She's in goddamn group therapy because that's what you would like. That's what that situation would be. It wouldn't be 5 years later and you'd living a life. You just would be fucked up forever. Going, man, imagine getting kicked out the support group. That's got to be some wild shit.
I'm not gonna lie. I would never have gone.
He said, I would have never. You said you would have never went.
Look,
I wouldn't have went either. I wouldn't have went either. For real.
Her story, she would have to cut so much shit out of her stories. Yeah, I lost him when he she wouldn't be. It's like trying to complain to your girl about something that happened when you were cheating on her. You know, it's like you can't even tell the whole story to get support. Like your story like ends where everybody else's story begins. Every time you try and do hey, my name's Debbie Grayson and my husband killed all y'all's family.
Y'all got problems? That was me and mine's.
Hey. How y'all doing?
Y'all remember the Guardians of the Globe? That was a thing.
That was a thing.
Yeah. So I get like Green Ghost's boyfriend or whatever. I know it was meant to feel a little bit cruel or whatever because we were expecting maybe him to be like compassionate, like, oh, I can't believe that happened. But I get it. Like, it's not her fault, but
she reminds them of that. Like while they're going through their grieving process, their healing process, she's a constant reminder in that group of like what they went through. So like I get it, even if it's not 100% logical. It's like it's an emotional response that like makes like I resonate with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, but you're as much of or close to or more of a victim in this situation than we are. So it's like you would hope that like maybe with some conversation they could work through it and kind of, but it's like also those groups are meant to be a safe space. This isn't a place for them to have to work through forgiving and then helping the wife of their partner's murderer.
And that's what I had a problem with, like when he said you should have known. Because like that's just the typical shit that like you would hear like just anybody like online say, in present day about something like when something fucked
victim
up
blaming.
Happened, and it's like your friends was involved in some fucked up shit. Like, hell, I didn't know. Like, goddamn, what the fuck you want me to do? Like, but they blame you for it.
The Batman of that universe didn't know.
Right. And then it's like,
how should she know?
And then like you should have did something and then like, and
like
I guess
what?
I didn't really appreciate how he threatened her safety. But like I would say, I do get it. I actually understood it more when y'all broke it down a little bit. Because I honestly wouldn't feel comfortable with her in the group either.
Yeah.
No. But
I think he was just lashing out. It was just like an emotional response, like obviously logically speaking.
But I like the fact that they said that Debbie was stronger than Nolan, and then they at the beginning of season 2, episode 4, like they kind of, show Omni-Man's journey, and then they showed Debbie having like a parallel journey after the night of the support group.
I will also say I appreciate what they did with in that same conversation. Mm-hmm. In the comics, Art doesn't entirely damn Omni-Man. Like you know, like when people get canceled, and there's always that one person like
he's still like, they're like, hey, look, man,
they're still my
he's
friend.
He's got some
good
points.
Hey, man, he was having a real tough time. It was a rock and a hard place.
Come on, but he's a good guy around. When you really get to know him, he's a pretty good guy. I mean, have a drink with him, have a laugh. He's pretty fucking funny. His jokes kill, so does he. Hey, you know what I mean?
He never said the N-word around me.
Louis C.K. is kind of funny, like that kind of shit.
But never took his dick out around me. Shit.
Yeah, like he did. They do the same. They did that with Art, in the comic where he kind of was like, well, yeah, it kind of sucks. All these things happen, but he was my homie, so
that's got
sorry.
Be a wild one. Yeah,
but like I was glad they actually had him go in a different direction, just because. And once again, it's kind of like you recognize the things in your story that probably either A, didn't age well, or B, like they could have been tweaked a little bit to make for a more coherent story that just makes way more sense. And that was kind of one of those things. I was like, man, I'm glad they cleaned that up, because
they went about it that way.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, like it was kind of hard to like Art sometimes in the comics, because I was like, this dude.
Yeah, I can't barely kind of remember him, but
is this like the nigga that make costumes?
He's a costume man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. He's a costume man, and he would occasionally, like whenever Omni-Man would come up in casual conversation, he would always kind of, I know he does these terrible things, but he's still my homie, so.
Yeah, I mean, also that kind of seems like the sort of thing that you might do if you think that this nigga might be back one day.
Right.
Like,
look, I'm just covering my bases, man. Look.
Yeah, I'm just covering my bases because you not finna do to me what he might do. So he's the homie as far as I'm concerned. If at any point he comes back, hey, I'm the man. I made your new costume and I kept it warm for you. I feel like that's what you would do.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, because I was really interested in something that Josh had kind of said earlier, which was just like, there is nuance to this and there is forgiveness, and you kind of go like, okay, if in our world we don't really have single individuals committing that level of heinous act.
Right.
You have someone who's a rapist, or you have someone who's assaulted someone physically, or done child abuse, or stolen somebody's publishing, or whatever the fuck. And then we go, okay, we cancel them. Is there a way back from that? So I guess my question is just like, what do we think redemption actually looks like, and what would it look like at this scale? Like, what's the way that, like, is there a way for Nolan to be back right, or something like that? What are the steps there?
Man, dude, the court of public opinion, man.
Yeah, that's
a hard court to win.
Yeah, that's not happening. This ain't not happening like present day.
Maybe
like,
I think yeah,
you could do like small minor shit like that. Like, you could have said something like, okay, for example, like maybe like a Daniel Caesar when he said something unfavorable about black women without thinking.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of people that still don't fuck with Daniel Caesar just from that. But like, he's been since like cleared it up. Like, yo, I really fucked up. I wasn't thinking, like I didn't connect these dots and da 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 da. But like, no matter what you do, it's always going to be like those people that's still going to hang this over your head to just not fuck with you, point blank period. From there, no matter what you did, no matter how you try to make things right after the fact, because they're still not going to allow you to grow and move from that point.
Yeah. I wouldn't. If it was my family, I would. If my family was on that train, I don't think, not in my life.
I mean, but we're talking about like, I get it. I get it. But just I'm talking like generally, right?
Oh, like in the smaller scale, like in our scale. Yeah, true.
Yeah. I feel like in most cases, depending on how heinous the act is, I do believe in forgiveness, but that doesn't mean I believe in going on that journey with that person. Like if someone messes up, like they do something bad, something that's like a cancelable, offense or whatever, I'm kind of like, you know what? Well, gotta let you go, man. Gotta let you go. But and who knows? They'll probably come back later. They'll probably be better. And if I was in those shoes, I would kind of expect the same. Like I would be like, I wouldn't expect anyone to be like, Oh man, dude, I heard I heard Blur Without Fear has gotten better about his stance on fill in the blank thing that people probably think is problematic about what I think or whatever. And I would never expect anyone to be like, well, honestly, I forgive him, and you know what? I'm willing to take this journey with him. I wouldn't expect that. I would just say, you know what? The best you can do is just try to be better, try to do better, and just, like, what was get caught trying. Get caught trying to be better. Don't sit there and be like, hey guys, look at me. I'm better now.
I'm better.
Like,
see what I'm doing?
Like R. Kelly can't come back from that. Like R. Kelly is like, man, look, see, no. I'm not hanging out with underage girls anymore. See, I'm better. You can't do that. No, you just
no. But I don't know. I think we do have a responsibility to like let people grow a little bit. Like it's one thing to go like, hey, look, I'm not emotionally ready to forgive you, whatever, or I've not seen enough change from you. But if you go like, look, all the evidence suggests that you are in a totally different place and you are a force for good to the exclusion of the way that you were a force for bad before. I think we gotta. It takes strength of character on the part of the people who have been wrong done, but you kind of have to go like, look, we'll let you have a job again. We'll let you be around people again. We'll let you not be in prison anymore. I think that's the thing we do actually have a responsibility to do.
So,
and I think that's a little bit being on somebody's journey with them. Like we have to participate.
So I ultimately agree. But I also think that in the context of what started this conversation, that it's a little bit different, right? So if
Romney, man, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah, if I'm Scarlet Witch, in a MCU movie, and I like kill a bunch of people in the midst of like trying to save like thousands of people from a bomb, I think that's a little bit different. If I'm the Avengers, and I if I'm in the midst of trying to save a bunch of people and there's collateral damage, good call on that one, and somebody's family member gets killed, maybe there's some redemption there, maybe there, that's basically what made Tony start thinking about Civil War in the context of the MCU, for example, like Alfred,
because they've killed a lot of people that
came in,
so that's exactly that.
So I think that's a little bit different than like I just like murdered in cold blood hundreds of people for no reason other than conquest and fear. So I think that we're talking about two different things, and I think that from a lowball perspective, there are reasons that are quote unquote cancelable, because we've talked about it on this podcast before. I don't think most people have been canceled. I can count on one, maybe two hands, the people that have been canceled and actually been canceled. And then there's this concept of like canceled actually means that like you just had a consequence that like maybe cost you a couple bucks or whatever. But anyway, so most people aren't canceled, but from the cancelable perspective of like the normal person, I do think there are things that are redeemable, things that you can work towards. We have countless examples of that. Robert Downey Jr. being one, for example.
But Robert Downey Jr. was not. That's. I mean, when we have to go into a whole aside, but I feel like
we would. But
being a piece of shit and being like a predator are two very different kinds of things. Like,
I agree, but people cancel people for being pieces of shit all the time. I'm thinking like Edward Norton hasn't gotten like really good like acting roles for simply just being a piece of shit, not necessarily being a predator. Like there are multiple reasons why you could cancel a person.
Jared Leto's fallen off too. Like he doesn't get the roles as regular as he used to either when all that stuff about him came out. Yeah.
That was I wanted to bring up that book, Man's Search for Meaning, again, because I had talked about it on the podcast before. It's like the story about this one of the Holocaust survivors. He was telling a story about like one of the guards that would literally unalive all these Jews, put them in the gas chamber, torture them, like was a very sick and depraved individual. Like when they saw him, like they knew like he was just, you would think he was unredeemable, unforgivable. And by the time the author was free, it was like about, I think maybe said like 2 years, like after they kind of got in it, he was like still transitioning. He saw that same guard, but he was like the saint of his current community. And like he was actually doing good in the community and kind of like atoning, but I guess like seeing it from his perspective and like hearing, like, and this is the author's words, the person that actually survived this actually say that seeing him like that, and think to myself like, damn, how could he commit such atrocities? But here he is today, and people are telling me about him and speaking about his morals and his character like he's like an angel. And he just started to say that he went into like a lot of words about like, you know, a person's redemption arc, and then like it's kind of like no one is irredeemable. Like even the worst of the worst can be redeemed. And I don't think it's for us to actually bestow redemption onto another person. I think that's for like a higher power. It's something higher than that, because I can't sit up here and say that you're wrong for not forgiving somebody or not saying that person has been redeemed. I don't feel like that's not for me to especially like put that onto somebody else to say like you should redeem, like you should forgive him, like you should think that this person has been redeemed.
I guess from a core concept, I don't disagree with you, but it's like we fucking live in a society like governed by societal rules. Like we aren't necessarily governed at every single individual action by like a higher power per the, you know, the beliefs of not only myself, but also very poignant like religious doctrine and all that kind of stuff. So like when you talk about stuff like that in particular, the reason why that was allowed to happen is because like that was happening in a time where you could like go 3 towns over and recreate your entire fucking life. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't a situation where it was very difficult to disappear and all that kind of stuff.
I also don't even know if that shit is good, because it's like it's not like he could go do Nazi shit somewhere. So it's like he just went and found, and I didn't read the book, but it's like he went and made another successful life because there was a place where being good was paying. So he did that. Exactly. And it's like, I don't know if that by itself means he's redeemed. It's just like, because Nolan was a superhero for mad years, like for like 20 straight years.
So are we gonna put the scales up there and say like he was a superhero for 20 years and all of a sudden
he saved more lives,
thousands of people? Like I think
he built up that cachet. He probably could catch another 20 bodies before he's really caught up against what he's already done. Good.
Yeah.
You know?
From a core concept, like I kind of understand, I do understand what you're saying, but it's also like from a sheer practicality standpoint in 2023, like that just doesn't hold much water for me.
I definitely understand what y'all are saying too. I just brought up the example because that's the really good textbook example of the thing.
But it is
a good example in this context.
Well, check this out though, like is it kind of relative? Because if people over here know you for being a piece of shit, but you do relocate and you go all the way on the other side of the earth and do a lot of good over there, like you're not a piece of shit, like you reform, changed your ways. So,
because now we're talking about like justice versus revenge kind of a thing. Because it's like once you're doing all that good shit, what purpose would it actually serve to punish you other than just like revenge? I think it's maybe part of your question. Maybe that could be part of the thing. Yeah, absolutely, that could be part of it. That is undertone what I'm getting at, because my thing is like for one, like I guess like the whole thing that's got us into this topic in the first place. Like Nolan hasn't begun to actually fully atone for the things that he's done. Yeah, he hasn't done shit.
You know what I'm saying? So like a person has not actually atoned for their past crimes, and then really walked that road of to redemption with the people that they have wronged. So
he just went somewhere else. The old Nazi dude just went to hang out with some bug people who didn't know about none of the shit that he did.
Went to Argentina.
The
old Nazi person went to Argentina. Yeah.
But see, even his new wife, even she said, she was like, I didn't learn anything about what he did until like.
But he did eventually tell her, which that's
he told her. But she was already in love with him. Like they had already built a relationship.
How do you sell that though? if you're because we really got to talk about how she's a bit of a dumb bitch. Because how the fuck does your man tell you, yo, I genocided a whole group of people? Her whole my job.
Her whole life is like fucking
3-4 months.
48 weeks or what the fuck ever.
Right.
She's like, she's not in this shit for the long haul. She's like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Yeah,
right. Right. Shit.
I'm gonna have 3 babies in 2 weeks, and then that's it.
She gonna be dead next week, y'all. Next week she gone. It ain't gonna matter.
But I was thinking they would get divorced quick too, because they get in love quick. I would think they would get divorced quick too.
Nah.
Yeah, honestly, so their society, without going too deep into it, their society is weird, and that's all I'll say.
Just what we've seen so far.
Yeah, just from the little bit we've seen, but like, just the idea that she was kind of like, because even she kind of seemed to recognize that what he did was bad, But she kind of did the thing where she was like, well, by that point I was already in love, so what you gonna do?
But I can't. If you found out your husband was like a rapist, you not finna. No, to be fair, to your point, a lot of people would. A lot of people would do it. Like, hey, I'm already in love. We'll figure it out.
People were like in love with Charles Manson in jail. You know what I mean? In prison, right?
After the fact.
But those people are unhinged.
Like Nolan.
But we recognize those people as unhinged fucking weirdos, not as like normally emotionally healthy people. So we need to be looking at Bug Lady kind of crazy because she learned some horrific shit and was like, she didn't think, hey, look, Nolan, maybe you don't want to spring this on your son. Like, maybe that's actually wild as fuck. She was just like, oh, why can't I lip lock your fucking murderous father who's still currently married to your wife right now? Did I misspeak?
That tongue down was crazy.
Of course you misspoke.
That tongue down was crazy.
It was.
Like, oh, what the?
It was wild as hell, bro.
I mean, like they not even like lips. They just like one in.
I would have fought the nigga on the spot.
Mandibles and proboscises and shit. Yeah. No, I would have. Yeah, because he would have got his ass beat again. So
he would have got his ass beat, but still.
Yeah. She had regular lips. They could have kissed normal.
Her lips were kind of good.
Yeah, right.
She had the soup coolers. Nice. She had the soup coolers. I was cool with it.
Yeah, they were voluptuous. But the eyes, I couldn't fuck with those eyes. Those eyes are crazy. There's no way. Because she had some little titties on her. She had like regular arms.
I don't know, man. Well,
the eyes was crazy.
No. The eyes. You just went through the whole checklist and you were like, the eyes is where you draw the line. You were like, body's kind of banging. Like,
it wasn't great, but she had some recognizable. Oh,
now you body shaming. No, now you body shaming. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, she was flat on the back. Like if the ass was fat, maybe I could fucking ant. But like her, she was.
The thorax was not there. The thorax
was not. Yeah.
She like, you want this PS5 or what?
She wasn't built like a. She like a millipede, not a spider.
I gotta play that new Spider-Man 2. I got to.
Let me pull this.
He's like, man,
spindle support.
Man, she got the bundle too, man. Right. She got the PS5 bundle with Spider-Man 2.
Because I know the sex noises sound crazy. It's a lot of kind of shit. Man. I can't. That's crazy.
That's like when the previous
her jaw
episode
opens sideways when she go to suck your dick. That's
I'd have to get up.
Yeah, you sneaky fucking pro.
That's wild.
But you know what Nolan would probably say? Be like, man, look, don't knock it till you try it. It's like,
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's say wild. You fucking grasshoppers.
Yeah, she got them paperclip legs that go back. Like you can't even do doggy style because her legs got the dog thing in them. Like I don't know.
See, you just made me think about the logistics of all this, and now I'm just kind of like, I'm just disgusted now.
Imagine what her skin feels like. Can you imagine fucking a big roach?
Ooh,
see, now you just said it like that. Now
it feels like it's crazy.
No, because if she had skin, I could hit her from the back, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But she looked like she got like exoskeleton, like scales and shit, like plates.
Both of y'all are being mad wild on different polarities right now. Like this nigga Josh is like, hey man, I could do it, and this nigga Eddie's like, she's like a roach, man. I don't know if I can fucking do that. Like it's like fucking. I'm not saying she's not
a human. I'm not saying she doesn't have personhood and rights to life. I'm just saying,
absolutely. She's
I'm not sticking my dick in a roach, bro. Come on. Yeah, exactly. I'm not body shaming. I'm not. Yeah.
I'm just How would I cut the cake? You know what I'm saying?
Look, I don't even know. Yeah. How would I even get started on that? Does she have a pussy that can be eaten?
Roach pussy.
That's a pretty good metaphor. That's a pretty good metaphor, Josh. Good job.
God,
I couldn't. Eyes is the thing.
Real pro.
Because think about looking into some big old compound lens, big old red eyes with 1,000 lenses on it, being like, "Oh yeah, baby, I love it." Like, can you imagine that shit?
And then she's still looking at you while you hitting it from the back. Like you can see her eyes.
Oh, like she can see, because her eyes is right here, so she's seeing you from behind.
Yeah,
those prey eyes.
I don't know, man. Alien pussy might be like on a whole nother level.
It could be. It might hit because he got started pretty quickly.
So let's say she give you the toppy and like you just look down and you just see all them eyes looking up at you.
That's kind of hot. A little bit.
What do eyes look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they like prisms?
Right?
Yeah, I'm assuming it's
like
it's a lot of little stop signs.
Like you see yourself, like you see yourself reflected in her eyes like a million times.
Yeah,
you're just like
you be making gang signs and shit in the little thing.
Yeah.
It's like I got this.
Alvin is like, all right, y'all.
I think Alvin is into it. Nah, I think Alvin is into it.
I am not.
Okay.
I am not.
Because I don't know. I saw him do a couple of kind of motions. So
I'm doing that in response to my shock from how serious y'all were taking that conversation.
Just allow your imagination to go, buddy.
Yeah, these are useful things. You never know when you might need to make a decision that you didn't think you would have to make.
That is facts.
You never know when you can end up in this situation. Because we know how you move, Alvin. You got a lot of different kind of shit going on that we don't know about. You
100%.
may end up in this situation,
100%.
and now you're having to think about it off the top of the dome.
Exactly.
And that's not something you want to improvise.
Yeah, man. 100%.
What type of condoms, What kind of lube do you use? I don't know.
We got time for another one?
Yeah, we definitely do. What else we got on here? What looks good?
Apparently the thorax.
One thing I was gonna say though about the Nolan shit was that I think that for forgiveness to really happen, or for a redemption that is not based in just like his relationship with the higher power, his self, but like redemption with the people of Earth who he has irreparably damaged and harmed, all of the people that he killed, all of the families of those people who are going through years and years of therapy and trauma right now. Like he's off getting his dick wet. Debbie is right now going through it at a level that is like her life is destroyed. I think the only way that you can really kind of come back from that is some like a combination of like exile and like humanitarian work. So if he's like doing work on other planets, I don't think that he can live on Earth for several generations. Like it would have like Debbie's grandkids would have to be adults, maybe. And then I think maybe he could start to have a relationship with the people of Earth. Maybe. Like what he's done is a generational thing. You can't move past that in a single human lifespan. We don't live long enough.
I can see that.
Not yet.
Not yet.
No. Well, I think that's even something that actually gets brought up in the comic too. Like when he talks about like they don't really go too deep into the society there, but like it's brought up that like all the bad stuff he did, so at least 2 or 3 different generations of those people had come and gone in the time.
Oh, the bug people?
Yeah, like it was like, so there's no one who even remembers that he ever did anything bad.
That would be a wild thing about the bug about being bug folks, because also to a Viltrumite, humans and like the Thraxans live like a similar amount of time. It's like cool, a few decades kind of pass and you pretty much die. So you're pretty short lived relative to us. And I think when you're living on that kind of time scale, everything is just like the concept of morality just completely changes, because it's like, look, I was young, I was only 80 at the time. That was some shit that I did when I was a kid. I'm like 200, 300 years old now. I barely even remember that shit.
I think a lot of us are still like children at the age of when we pass. Like we still have like the emotional mentality or state of a child, damn near. Because we don't really get to 15-year-old, much. Like when you're 80 something, like sometimes.
I think so, and I think even people who have like are quite mature. If you really think about like, if you really gave a human 500 years to think and introspect and travel and explore shit and try different lifestyles and get to meet different people, how much different they would be than someone who really only gets to. I mean, really, you only really get to interact with people from like the age of like 10 to like 65, and on either side of that, it's like you're kind of isolated or you're dying or you're still learning how to walk or whatever. So you really only have like 50, 60 years. If you had, a few hundred, I think we would just have a whole different kind of emotional maturity.
Yeah.
Also the irony, one of the things that Nolan said to Mark when he was beating the brakes off of him, committing child abuse of the highest order, was like he kept referring to humans as ants and bugs, look where he wound up.
Then he went
I never thought about that.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's a good.
He was trying to prove something with that. He was really trying to prove something. He was like, "See, no, I'm better. I literally fucked an ant, and I love her." See,
like
just
you
like
see me living this bug's life,
right?
Yeah.
It's your boy.
I'm never gonna be able to not think of that. Whenever I look at that again, I'll be like, damn, man, look, he's really out here, man. Look at him.
Damn.
He really living that bug's life.
Damn. That's great. I never made that connection between.
Well, yeah, he literally referred to them as ants, and like what was the first thing he did? He ran off to a planet with nothing but bugs, and said, got to clapping.
See, I think that Nolan is like top tier toxic nigga because he doesn't have any of the emotional intelligence, like self-analysis shit. To where it's like, I really think in his mind, he thinks that having sex with a bug lady is a way of redeeming himself in the eyes of Debbie and Mark. Like, I think somewhere in the back of his head, he was kind of like, okay, I called them bugs. Let me really show him what a real bug is. And that'll like by cheating on her with this lady, that'll really show her that like, oh, I'm capable of loving things that I consider bugs. And now she has a half bug grandson or a half bug half grandson. So it'll be one big happy family because niggas do shit like that. They choose their next baby mama in order to like manipulate the previous one so they can be all a big happy family.
You speaking from experience, my nigga?
I know, right?
Like, what the fuck? Like, Eddie's like, man, that's what these niggas be doing, man. Trust me. Thinking they baby mama, proving points and shit.
I mean, does it sound like I'm lying? Because I feel like have we not? I've seen it. Have y'all not seen it?
Yeah, I mean, you can jump through all sorts of mental gymnastics like to where it makes sense in your head somehow.
I mean, I've literally seen women argue amongst themselves about their baby daddy. Oh, my baby daddy this, my baby that. And then like the next year there's some other woman who also has the same baby daddy. Like, I don't know. That stuff always gets kind of messy to me. I'm just always like, I'm staying out of that. I'm going to listen, but I'm going to stay out of it.
I don't know. I kind of did.
That's a wild one.
I did kind of like want to talk about fucking not Amber. Well,
Amber.
Well, yeah. I don't think she was actually that bad this season. I don't think she was like. Not this season. I think she was good this season, but overall character, evening out, pretty decent.
I think they kind of nerfed her a little bit. Like I think they did a bad job the first season. And then this season they were like, okay, we fucked up. So now she just doesn't have a personality anymore. Like, I don't know. It's like they went too far.
I could tell you the problem. Because Amber doesn't really have much of a personality in the comics. And they tried to give
they're
her
making up
one.
a character.
Yeah, like honestly, if you take the Amber that's in the animated series, she's nothing like the Amber from the comic. The Amber from the comic
I don't even remember that character.
She is so milquetoast that when you, by comparison of everything going on around her, she is the least interesting thing happening. Like those villains that we see for like a split second, each of those characters, no matter how dumb they look, they are infinitely more interesting than she is. And I get what they tried to do, but at the same time, it was kind of like they overcorrected and they made Amber come off as, and this is a problem you have with TV, storytelling in general. When you have a main character who the significant other is in direct opposition of the thing that the main character is supposed to be doing, the thing that we're there for.
It's so glad you're bringing this up.
It's a Skyler White situation.
Yes.
In any normal, actual real world setting, Skyler White would probably have a way higher approval rate than Walter White.
Yeah.
But because he's the protagonist and we're invested in his journey, it's easier to be like, man, Skyler tripping.
Because Skyler was getting on everybody's nerves.
Yeah.
Like, Skyler was right. Skyler was right more than she was wrong.
Let this nigga cook mess.
Skyler was right vastly more. Yeah,
like she wasn't perfect.
No. But this is such a good point because that trope, I don't know what the name for that trope is, but watching Invincible, I've been thinking about that shit a lot because it is so common in superhero things, and it's definitely very gendered. It's always, bitch, I have to save the world. Why the fuck do you care who did the dishes?
The public is in danger!
My evening's in danger!
You tell me what my suit is, woman! We are talking about the greater good!
Greater good? I am your wife! I'm the greatest good you are ever gonna
And to
get.
me, it seems like this is male writers taking their regular boring lives and trying to adapt their like inadequacy as a partner into superhero stories. Like,
That
no,
is good,
I'm trying to change the world. So all these like domestic problems that you have an issue with in the relationship are insignificant. And it's like, it's such a common manipulation tactic because and this is a difficult thing to do in a relationship. in a relationship, people are rarely evenly yoked in regard to like how significant or successful they are, how much money they make, how much like emotional strength they have. So if you've got one partner who has constant emergencies, constant catastrophes, is making more money, is doing bigger moves, every time you go, okay, I've got a problem, you've got a problem. If your strategy to deal with that is going, well, whose problem is bigger? We'll deal with the bigger problem. In a given instance, that seems logical. But across an entire relationship, it means you have one person that the relationship is always about and another person where the relationship is never about them. Mm-hmm. And if you're dating a fucking superhero, you go, look, I would like to be able to have a birthday dinner. That's a totally normal thing to ask for in a relationship. And I actually don't owe you just being in a relationship by myself because of the fact that you have to save the world or whatever. But we don't do that. You know what I mean?
Fair.
That's 100%.
100% right. Okay. Lightning round. One last one.
Okay. Let's go. Ding, ding, ding.
Duplikate fucking the Immortal on company grounds.
Crazy.
Kate, don't do this. Please.
I don't know how many bodies that counts as, but that's some wild math.
Real as fuck,
I don't
man.
even know how to
Real as
calculate
fuck, man. Duplikate was in the right, man.
Oh, 100%.
You think so?
Yeah.
Duplikate is 100% right.
I hate Rex.
He fucked Eve's man, though.
Yes,
like he's in the right from being in the wrong.
I'm talking about post that. Because we already. I'm doing Rex shit. I'm doing Rex shit right here. I'm doing Rex shit 100%.
You bring the bullshit.
You bring
bullshit, man.
Rex looked this lady dead in her face and said, "At least I'm not a cheater." You literally are. Yeah, but not
right now. Right now, he's not.
That's
but they
all
were
we
never
ever
in a
have is now.
relationship, though, bro. They were never in a relationship.
Right? Come on, man. The 4 seasons or whatever the fuck. You know, it's only in and now. Eckhart Tolle type shit.
I love it.
Oh, that is hilarious.
I love it. Now, Duplikate was wild. I was like, you know what? Everything she said was right.
Nah, but that's got to be some type of pedophilia shit. This man is like, okay, Immortal is like 2,000 years old or some crazy shit like that.
He's legit Abe Lincoln.
He's right.
Yeah.
Duplikate is literally young enough
adult.
that it's not inappropriate. Yeah, true, but
right, like
he was no, but think about how young she's an adult, but she was dating Rex. Rex was dating a high schooler. So like just the jump between those is she can't be more than like 22.
That's fair.
Like at the most.
That's fair.
And then Rex is maybe 19, Eve is maybe 17. So like she's, let's say 21, 22, barely can drink. He's 2,000 years old. Like,
well, whatchamacallit it? Oh, damn. Well, I guess it was promoting underage drinking because Amber, the
they were 100% underage drinking. They lean into
just
that.
started college.
Okay, gotcha.
They
sure.
Marcus and his mom like explicitly says that he's barely 18. So Mark is 18. Mark is an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that all of them
are
they're 17, 18.
Well, remember they were called the Teen Team, so they had to be.
Oh yeah, come on.
Team. They got such
in the name.
Janky names in Invincible.
I love that. I love that about because that's how they do everything in that show. Everything is just like the Lizard League. Like it's just it's just all kind of making fun of the comic book shit. Like
none of the names are even meant to be taken seriously. There's a character.
I'm Omni-Man. Like it's all all funny. You know?
Honestly, Omni-Man probably has one of the least dumb names.
Yeah.
Like there's characters that show up later called Dinosaurus. Like literally.
Battle Beast is the worst name I've ever heard in my life. Like that's like some fucking
It kind of grew on me.
Battle Beast is dumb, but he's also one of the coolest characters.
Fair enough.
So that's why you let it slide. You're like, I mean, it's weak, but you know what? He looked cool, so
fair enough.
or there are future characters that also have like that are supposed or they're absolutely badass, equally dumb names.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go back because to the Duplikate Immortal thing, but just maybe more so on Immortal. I think he's kind of fucking stupid. Like for him to have lived so long, the two very very poor choices or decisions that he's made. For one, bring an alien into the fold into your team. This nigga's clearly not a human. Something is wrong with this motherfucker.
Oh, hello, chums. I'd like to run while remaining in a stationary location. Is that cool beans? In a stationary location.
He's super stretchy. Oh, let's bring him on. He seems like all right to me. He seems okay to me.
You talking about the Martian dude?
Yeah, the
These
Martian
guys
nigga.
are idiots.
Yeah, stupid.
It's so many stupid motherfuckers in this. Like
Yes.
almost like it's NASA brought back a human from a place where they know, because they already have a Martian on the team. They know it's aliens on that planet, and they know it's sequids or whatever the fuck those things are. And they brought back a guy who now all of a sudden is acting weird as fuck. He don't remember his life. He don't remember his training. He's being weird as hell, and everybody's just like, you should take a sabbatical. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I know Mars was kind of difficult for you.
And he goes, please don't kill me. Y'all didn't think maybe you should put him under surveillance at least? Like, you didn't do some blood tests at least?
I just want to point out Rex was the only one that asked the most obvious question.
Right.
Like, where are you
He's
from?
like, where are you from?
You from? Like,
Because I know not from here, bro. What the fuck is going on?
Look, man, all I'm gonna say is, one, Immortal could be crazy like a fox, or
he's on some,
or he's also like
dumb as hell.
I'm fucking immortal. I don't have to be smart. You know what I mean? Like, do you really have to be smart when you're immortal? You don't have to be thinking about shit.
Accidentally be smart if you live that long. If you came up with 7 years, which is a bar, I feel like you got to be at least kind of clever.
Lincoln ain't write that shit, bro. Lincoln recited that shit.
Oh, you think he had ghostwriters? Lincoln had ghostwriters for that?
Yeah, ghostwriters.
Look, ghostwriters and no features.
Yeah, the OVO sweatshop been around since 1769, boy. Them niggas ain't even write the Declaration of Independence, cause that shit came from the Indians.
Look, they didn't even make the flag. Like it was. Damn. We all know it was probably some slaves that hooked that flag up. Let's be real. Betsy Ross ain't sewing all night. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
She executive produced the flag. She executive produced the flag.
There you go.
Came through.
There you
go. Talk.
Should we go down to do we want to rapid fire a couple more? If there's anything on here that's of interest.
Adam Eve's parents suck.
Yes. Oh man, super abusive. Why? Like the dad is like cartoonishly a piece of shit. Like,
yes,
100%. 100%.
Like, what the fuck is going on, man?
Straight up.
He's worse.
Trash.
He's worse than the dad from goddamn BMF. I will have nothing to do with this drug money. Like, it's like, nigga, I made it from scratch. Nigga, it's a golden apple. I get it. Like, what the fuck you gonna go cash it in at? But still, nigga, like,
you can sell that. You can sell that easy. Go to any gold place and just sell that.
Like, no, man, I'm fucking gonna work at Burger Mart. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I understand to an extent wanting to, you want to do it on your own. You want to do all of that. I get it. But
I don't, my nigga. Like, that shit's crazy. I know, everybody who's listening to the podcast, that shit is fucking bullshit. Nepotism your way out this shit. Just don't pretend that you didn't nepotism your way out of it. Don't pretend that you fucking got it out the mud if you didn't. But nepotism your way out this shit.
Gold apples.
Let them make you the gold apples.
I'm with you on that. Like, we ain't gotta abuse
he don't want to.
No.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to owe his daughter and all that kind of. And I think the other thing is, it's like it is.
She ain't paid for the shit either, bro. It ain't like what the fuck she gonna do? Put him on an IOU for something that she just made from scratch out of thin air?
But it's from her. You know what I mean?
I mean, she really making groceries though out here. Like, that was always.
She really made groceries.
That shit was actually pretty lit.
Honestly, again, I don't understand how Cecil has not Cecil seemed like he focused on the wrong shit sometimes.
Yes,
like he doesn't seem like he's using his available resources well. Like he out here trying to. Have they done the reanimate shit yet? Yeah. So like
they did.
He's trying to break it out of order. Why doesn't he have? Why has he not forced Adam Eve into the Guardians of the Galaxy and just have her out here curing world hunger? Like, she's the best asset that they have, and they hire in a monster girl and shrink, a lady that can shrink a little bit. Like, what is that? These are terrible. This is such a waste of time.
It really is. And even Rex explosion. I mean, that's you can.
Hey man, Rex is kind of lit, bro. I hate
that nigga.
He's funny, but he's just Gambit.
Yeah,
he's just Gambit, but Gambit is kind of lit. Like, why are we trying to pretend like Gambit is fucking not lit?
Gambit is lit because he's Creole. That's the only reason Gambit is really lit.
Look, that man, and he got a jacket. He got a jacket and a pool stick. You don't want to mess with nobody like that.
Come on now.
That's true.
That man wears a trench coat in 98-degree weather.
Cool as a cucumber.
Look,
talking goddamn broken French.
On I me. Okay, we see you.
Look, let me tell you something.
Y'all seen that clip where he got into a fist fight with Jean Grey because he was trying to season her Thanksgiving cooking?
Yep. I saw that.
That's why I respect him. That's his real power.
It's like, that woman kill you, right? He's like, I don't care.
He's like, but I must season the jambalaya.
I must season the jambalaya.
Okay, one more one that I thought was of interest. Why do we think? Because apparently in all the other universes, Mark goes evil. Why
Almost
do
all.
we think
Almost
that
all.
this, almost all?
Angstrom
Why do we think this
clarified.
was different? Okay, mostly. So what do you think was different in those universes or different in this one? Like the market, like because that seems to imply that Mark has that, he's got that dog in him, he's got that evil in him that could just be brought out with the right, set of circumstances.
Maybe it's the friends that he made along the way.
Could be.
It could probably even be how early he was told what he was.
If he got told earlier, that definitely would be making a huge difference.
Yeah, because I mean that's even something that that's brought up in the previous episode when Alan is talking to the coalition of planets, and he says that this dude didn't find out till now that he's a Viltrumite. He didn't even know what a Viltrumite was. And I feel like that could be, not to say that it is, but just saying, I feel like that could be a factor if they wanted it to be. I'm always of the belief that nothing is ever said by accident. Like anything that you see in a final script of anything is barring bullshit like small talk conversation. Yeah, it's there for a reason. Like someone made an active choice.
It's the Hitchcock logic, like if I show a gun, there's going to be a gun used kind of situation.
Yeah, you got to fire it. It's got to be fired by Act 3. Otherwise, what was the point?
What I think that there was a key moment of when he says to Omni-Man, like, I'd have you, Dad. I think that if Nolan had have not left in that moment, I think that Mark was probably in like a very vulnerable position in that moment to where that whole situation could have been reframed and psychologically like pressured on him to be like, yeah, you're right. I am the thing that you'll have. Viltrumites is what you should like. Like if he leaned into like, I love you and this is what we'll have. I think that Mark probably was in a susceptible enough place after also like on some Stockholm shit that could have been the thing that pushed him to be like, okay, I want to align with my true people who are going to be with me for forever or whatever,
Yeah, and I mean,
and maybe not calling his mom a pet.
Yeah, that
like I think if he had not done those two things, like if he had stayed with Mark after he beat him and not called Debbie a pet, I think Mark would have flipped.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Mark looked up to his dad so much, like he literally said, "I want it to be just like you." So when you experience those two big betrayals, of course a nigga gonna buck back. But yeah, so I think it's probably like slight differences, like y'all were kind of like let on that might have happened in different timelines to why he chose Omni-Man's side. But to think that most of them chose Omni-Man's side over the Earth is kind of weird.
Kind of wild, yeah. And we got one good Mark.
One good one.
But Angstrom Levy kind of could help the coalition, the Federation of Planets, the coalition of planets, whatever it is, with fighting off the Viltrumites, because he could just go and get the other couple Marks or the other couple Omni-Mans and then bring them to, this universe. All right, nigga, boom, we got these niggas up out of here. We going to your universe. We gonna get them up out of there type shit.
Yeah.
The government couldn't. True, but the government couldn't let a black man, do that type of shit. They had to blow his whole shit up, which is crazy
every time.
Well, I mean, he almost got shot going to another universe. So I mean, what was it? The Cecil,
the girl universe.
Yeah. It was basically like the
Cecilia and Donnie universe.
And so it was such a riff on like DC Comics because they literally have an Earth where everyone is the opposite gender. And it was literally that. It was like, yep, this is a thing. Except for Invincible. He stays the same. But, which I was actually kind of sad they didn't just go all in on it. Like, you could have had Omni-Woman.
Make him a girl, yeah. Yeah. She's all evil and shit.
I would have been down for that. But...
I think we call it here. I think that was the ep. Any closing remarks or anything like that? Remarks?
Read Invincible. It's 144 issues. Yeah, it's a
good one though.
It's good though. It's a good read.
Journey. Well, look, if you see, the white establishment breaking into your scientific experiment where you're trying to solve world hunger across multiple dimensions, you might be seeing a red flag. But at the same time, if you fuck a ladybug to get your son back into your life, it's definitely you that's waving the red flag. It's been Waving the Red Flag podcast. It's been Eddie. It's been Josh. It's been Alvin. Joined today by Ernie, a.k.a. Blurred Without Fear. Where can the people find you? What should they check out? Et cetera, et cetera.
Oh man, you go find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Blurred Without Fear. I make comic book videos a lot, probably more than any human being should. And yeah, I live stream every Thursday and Saturday. So drop in. We're always talking about stuff and or things.
We got topics and takes.
Oh yeah, dude, all of them. And you know, some of them are actually decent. I guess. I don't know.
You'll have to look at his channel to find out.
I could be talking about why Captain Marvel, the sequel to Marvels, why it bombed at the box office, but not for the reasons you might think. Or
we'll put the link to that one in the description.
That was the thing. That was the thing that happened. And yeah, we do other stuff too. We try to keep it, try and be a nice place for everybody to come in, have some fun, and make fun of chuds. So there you go.
Isn't that like a dick that's like short and thick? What's a chud?
Oh, the your online trolls, the type of people that it's like, well, it probably is to somebody, but for me it's just like it's a general blanket term for people who are like the red pillars, the red pill crowd, or all those folks.
If y'all want our bonus episodes, if you want to join us on live stream, become a community member. That's Patreon, that's Spotify, YouTube memberships, any of those places. For those of you watching on YouTube, subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you see every time we drop a new episode each week. And that's it. We'll see you next week. Peace, peace, peace. Bye, everyone.
It's a red flag.